The New England Patriots pulled off the upset victory in Week 1 for one simple reason. They turned the monster keys to victory. Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen each and every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we are also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button, download and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts to ensure you're getting the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Athlon Sports. Reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots social media style, please be sure to follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, it is Victory Monday. We continue to bask in the glow of the Patriots' 16-10 upset victory over the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium on Sunday afternoon. The Pats currently sit at 1-0, and they'd like to make that 2-0 with their home opener this coming Sunday against the Seahawks. Well, we're not going to get into that matchup quite just yet here on Locked On Patriots because there is still plenty to break down, including the number one reason why your New England Patriots were victorious over the Bengals this week. Yeah, that's right, folks. They turned the monster keys to victory. And who else has the monster keys to victory but our good friend, the legend himself, the very Don of Locked On Patriots, my good friend Thomas Murphy. Thank you for joining me today and for bringing those monster keys that you carry in your pocket like so many nickels and dimes, Don Murph.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you. You're a man I was told that should be treated with respect, and I do that, and that's why I bring the keys here and nowhere else. Nowhere else. Yeah, keys were turned, weren't they? It was
They
it
were.
was it was it was a nice afternoon. We didn't need to get to the 24 points that I predicted the Patriots did, but thank God, and we came away with a 16 point victory. That doesn't happen very often in the NFL, and that's uh, just a testament to Covington and his group. Keon
Exactly.
White had a monster afternoon, 3 sacks. It was incredible. It was a great day for him.
Yeah, Keon absolutely showing that he can not only be a force in this defense, but a force when it comes to
Right.
pass rush throughout the NFL. Really, I think a star is born moment for him. And I think you're going to continue to see moments like this from Keon White. I chose him as my defensive player of the week during my post-game episode here on Locked On Patriots. The best is yet to come for young Keon. And I think Patriots fans are going to be very happy with what they see from him moving
Right.
forward. Murph, you always cast a very clear path to victory for the New
Thank you.
England Patriots each and every week. Those monster keys provide, I think, a solid blueprint for the Patriots to get the victory.
Yep.
This week, you particularly focused on establishing the run. You focused on utilizing your strengths,
Right.
utilizing the Patriots' strengths on offense and on defense, not reinventing the wheel, but doing what they do best. When you go back and you look at the monster keys that you crafted for this game and what the Patriots actually did on the field against the Bengals, how excited were you to see those keys being turned, and which, to your estimation and to your satisfaction, were turned at the highest levels?
Yeah, well, just to start off, the running game in this offensive line and the game plan that they put together, I expected to see a lot of 12 personnel this week. We did see
Mhm.
that. We saw a lot of two tight end sets, but I did not see the jumbo packages that were coming.
Mhm.
Okay, and I thought that was a fantastic call by Alex Van Pelt in working out this game plan in knowing the limitations of this offensive line. Now, while everybody is touting how great they were, um, uh, a lot of the work was well, most of the work was done by Rhamondre Stevenson. He looked
Mhm.
fantastic. He did.
Fantastic.
The yards after contact that he was able to put together on Sunday afternoon was just phenomenal. I had to go back and watch a second and a third time, just to soak it all in. Um, but the rub is that yes, they were doing this out of 12 personnel. They were doing this with an extra tackle on the field. Things are going to have to change because you're not going to be able to live by that sword every single week. But it was good enough for week one, and they do need to um, diversify just a little bit more, and this is going to happen. I understand that
Hmm.
week one, folks. That's not. I'm not saying that this can't happen or this won't happen. They just can't lean on this wall the entire season and expect this kind of an outcome. So that being said, yeah, the first key that was turned and I loved was establish the run. Peters did a fantastic job, aligning his guys and getting them into position to do well, with one exception, Chooks Okorafor, who I
Hmm.
believe played 12 snaps. 12 snaps. Very good, Mr.
Hmm.
Wolf. Fantastic at. But other than that, the offensive line did well. Early on, they were able to stretch it out into that stretch zone. Later on, the Bengals seemed to catch up to what was happening. And that's when the Patriots did another thing that I was expecting them to do was get up the middle, go off center, off guard, and let Rhamondre eat in that fashion.
Yeah, he absolutely did eat in that fashion. You look at what Rhamondre did on the field on Sunday, 118 yards after contact,
Yeah,
forcing 10 missed tackles. This is one of those games where you look at a young back that really is coming into his own. Now he's a franchise back, and we're going to get into, I think, a little bit more of what it means for Ramondre to
right,
be a franchise back, because not only was he leading by example on the field, he was also leading in the locker room and was one very influential voice when it came to a lot of the Patriots game planning for this game. I thought that was very interesting. We'll get into that in our takeaways segment, folks, in a bit. So stick around. You do not want to miss a single second of the action. Settle into Locked On Patriots, because we got a good one on tap for you. And we already have absorbed some of the great wisdom and counsel of Murph. Don't worry, he's got plenty more coming. But bottom line, the New England Patriots right now, I think, are looking at establishing the run is something that they will
yeah,
continue to do as much as they can. It's the strength of an Alex Van Pelt offense. You mentioned the scheming of Scott Peters. I think that also deserves a lot of credit. Before we get back into the offense, because the O line was surprising,
right.
but I know you have some insight that you want to share with us in just a moment on that. So I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to actually switch over to the opposite side of the ball and the defense. You mentioned Keon White earlier, but one of the things that I loved about the New England Patriots defense and what they did on Sunday is they played to their strengths. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
DeMarcus Covington had his unit ready. They played a mixture of different coverages, so they
Yep.
tried to cause a little bit of confusion when it came to the Bengals. But I thought it was brilliant that DeMarcus went back to what makes this defense good. Lean into your zone structures,
Right.
limit the big play, and that really, I think, allowed this defense to come alive. From a defensive standpoint, with the monster keys in check, what do you think are the biggest takeaways when it comes to the Patriots' performance on that side of the ball?
That the linebackers and the defensive backs are still the strength of this team.
Mm,
Okay, what he's able to do in the defensive backfield and coverages is you don't find around the league everywhere. The safety play, that the fact that so many different players can cover so many different types of offensive players, it's going to make things extremely difficult for any opponent week in and week out. I thought the defensive backfield and the pass rush was in perfect sync in not
mhm,
allowing Burrows to establish himself in any way, shape, or form. They weren't really able to get much going through the air. They held the Cincinnati Bengals to 0 first downs through almost a quarter and a half of football,
mhm.
and that was fantastic.
It's remarkable. It really is. And I think just a testament to what this team can do when all cylinders are firing on
Right.
defense. And, you're looking at guys that are still coming into their own in a lot of ways. Christian Gonzalez, I thought, was phenomenal on Sunday. I thought his performance against Jamar Chase definitely deserves a great amount of credit. And he
Yep.
continues to be a guy that can shut down and take away your top option. If he continues to do that and gets more comfortable doing that as he kind of comes into his pro level readiness, it's going to make life very difficult for a lot of opposing offenses that want to try to shake free their biggest weapon, knowing that someone like a Christian Gonzalez is there to be able to put a stifle on it. And I thought the safeties played well as well, always aware, always honest, and always knowing what's going on.
This is we were wondering what the identity of this team is going to be, and it's a bully identity. All
Hmm.
right, but it's a controlled bullying. All right, they came at Cincinnati with one purpose in mind, to bully them, to beat them up, and to let them know that they were going to be in a football game. And it was a beautiful thing, whether it was Duggar or Peppers or Jalen Hawkins or anybody on that side of the ball. It was you knew that they were there.
Hmm.
They made their presence felt, and you knew you were going to get hit if we were catching the ball on Sunday afternoon. And quite frankly, the Bengals stopped wanting to catch the football.
Mm, yeah, exactly. You hit them hard enough and you hit them often enough, it gets to the point where they just don't want the ball anymore. And maybe there was a little element of that on Sunday. And you have to credit the Patriots defensive coaching staff and those players on the field for making life difficult for what I described last night as still a very talented offense in Cincinnati. I know they were missing T. Higgins. I know that Jamar
Right.
Chase was kind of a fraction of what he usually is. Joe Burrow looked like someone that was still shaking off some of the cobwebs from
He,
the injuries he's had.
he's still
But there's a
shaking
lot
that
of
hand.
explosive. Exactly. And at one point, you wondered whether or not he had re injured it. I know at one point they were paying close attention to that on the CBS broadcast.
Yep.
But at the same time, you also look at the talent level that they have on that team. And there's still guys like Mike Gesicki, the newcomer, Yosevich, all of these players, Zach Moss, who got the
Right.
only touchdown for the Cincinnati Bengals. There's still a lot of offensive talent. So for the Patriots to hold them to 10 points, even with the problems that they had, is still very, very impressive. So they deserve a lot of credit for that. Murph, before we take our leave of the Monster Keys, I know a lot of Patriots
Right.
fans were really impressed by the special teams performance on
Yeah.
Sunday. For the first time in a long while, it felt like Patriots special teams again, knowing where to be when it comes to special teams tackling, everybody playing their assignments, kickers hitting their field goals. These are really like very basic,
Yeah.
rudimentary things. But for a Patriots team that finished at the bottom or near the bottom in
Right.
DVOA on special teams the last couple of seasons, it was a breath of fresh air. How impressed were you with Jeremy Springer's new unit, and what do you think that means for the Patriots moving forward?
Um, moving forward, I think it gives this team hope.
Mm,
There were so many special teams snafus, as you said, over the last couple of years, and after the opening kickoff, okay, it was really clean effort by
mm,
those guys. They went out and they did their job, and going back to the keys and limiting the laundry, which is one of the weekly keys that the Patriots were able to do this week. What they were able to do on special teams was kind of special.
mm. Absolutely. Especially when you take a look at someone like Brendan Schooler, who now has the spotlight squarely on him when
Yep,
it comes to being the main cog in that special teams unit, goes out and sets a career high with 3 special teams
three special
tackles.
teams
This
tackles.
kid absolutely is ready to rise to that occasion. So the special teams came up big. You look at the turnovers that the Patriots were able to force. I made it a point last night to mention that this is not an easy team, folks, to force turnovers on.
Right.
The Cincinnati Bengals were the best team when it came to not turning the ball over in 2023. Patriots forced 2, and they were 2 big turnovers
Yeah, Joe
that led.
Cardona.
Exactly. Joe Cardona getting his first forced fumble of his career. These are the little things that teams build upon. And when
That's it.
you're a team like the New England Patriots that's still searching for an identity, it's so important to
Kickers
get
count.
these.
His
Exactly.
name is
It's so
Bryce Behringer. He averaged 50 yards per kick.
He is tremendous. Bryce is absolutely a weapon, and he continues to be an amazing punter for this team. Joey Sly kicking 3 field goals. That veteran presence, I think, is solid for the Pats. So, all in all, a good day for the New England Patriots. And Murph, it was a surprise, I think, to a lot of Patriots fans that they looked good in all 3 phases of the game. Look, this is not a perfect effort, and it will not be a perfect effort anytime the Patriots go out there on the field. But as long as they play their brand of football, they're going to have a puncher's chance.
Right.
And that puncher's chance stems from solid play along the offensive line. The line is getting a lot of credit for being a lot better than people expected. But are we raising our expectations a bit too high when it comes to next week and beyond? Our resident O-line expert is chomping at the bit to be able to give his wisdom and counsel on this subject. We're going to talk O-line with Murph when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues in just a moment here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, men. When we leave the house each and every day, you're checking on the big 4: phone, wallet, keys, and how your hair looks. But if you're experiencing hair loss, you might not be confident when you step outside your door. Well, it's time to get that confidence back and restore your hair with Hims. Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted treatment options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. They offer personalized, chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatment options so you can find what works best for you. And here's the best part. The process is simple and 100% online. Just answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if a treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door. So don't delay, do it today. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/LockedOnNFL. That's HIMS.com/LockedOnNFL for your personalized hair loss treatment options. HIMS.com/LockedOnNFL. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Locked On listeners, what's something you'd love to learn? Think about it for a moment. As an adult, do you make time to learn new things as often as you'd like? Or was that lost in childhood? Let's face it, kids are always learning and growing. But as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. Maybe you'd like to learn a new language, or finally how to beat your best friend in bowling. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back-to-school era can come at any age. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOn today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn.
Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots as we continue to bask in the glow of the Patriots' 16-10 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. We always appreciate all of your support here on Locked On Patriots, and hopefully you make us your first listen each and every day. If you have done so, once again, a tip of the cap to all of you everydayers that do that, and I implore you and encourage you to now make your second listen, our good friends over at Locked On Fantasy Football. Our analysts across the Locked On Podcast Network give you all the analysis tools that you need to help you win your fantasy league. Locked On Fantasy Football, just like Locked On Patriots, is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So be sure to download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Fantasy Football wherever you're getting your podcasts. And of course, we continue to break down the Pats' victory over the Bengals on Sunday in Week 1. Murph, in the previous segment, we talked a lot about the monster keys being turned. And as I always say each and every week, you turn the keys, you go to the top. You don't turn the keys, you're never heard from again. Well, the Patriots turned the keys, and they turned pretty much every single one of them, including one that I don't think even Murph himself thought they were going to be able to turn, and that was get solid contributions along the offensive line.
Right.
Look, Murph, this is not a perfect line. It never will be. It's not even close to it.
No.
But I think we can agree that the Patriots O line blocked a little better than we thought, showed a little more cohesion than we thought, and I think had a more solid game plan than any one of us believed heading into this matchup. But you see things us mere mortals don't see when it comes to the offensive line. Before we either canonize or condemn this offensive line, when you look at their performance on Sunday, how much credit do they deserve for the game plan for the Patriots offense? And what impressed you about this line on Sunday?
How well they work together, especially the rookies that came out. Wallace was a definite contributor, and of course, we even had some Michael Jordan action in
Mm,
there. Vidarian Lowe was able to step in for Chooks when Chooks just was gagging all over himself in the first quarter. It was a great day, but I've really got to take my hat off to Layden Robinson and what he's been able
mm.
to do. I give Wolf a lot of grief, but he found himself a ball player there in the fourth round.
Absolutely. And Layden continues to surprise. And we started to see the emergence of Layden Robinson late in training camp
Right,
and into the preseason. And you started to be able to see seedlings of what this kid could be if given the opportunity. Obviously, now he's going to be thrust, I think, a little bit more into the spotlight because of the Patriots' thinness in the interior of the offensive line. Cole Strange out indefinitely. We're still waiting for clarification on when City So may suit up, if he's going to be a part of the game plan this week, or if we're looking at the second straight week where he won't be. So there's a lot right now that is in flux for the New England Patriots offensive line. And when you can get reliable contributions from a rookie, yeah,
right,
you know you're doing something right. So Layden, I think, deserves an awful lot of credit. Obviously, Murph, left tackle is a tough situation right now. You saw Chukwuekorofo, you
right,
mentioned that, struggled early on, gave way to Vidarian Lowe, and Vidarian, I think, looked a little bit better, looked more comfortable. I
right,
think provided some stability to the New England Patriots because where they were, I think, most impressive with this line was the interior double team
right.
to reset the line of scrimmage. Gerard Mayo talked about this ad nauseum last week. I, for one, and I know a lot of my colleagues believe that a lot of it was lip service and trying to talk up the unit that he had. But
Yeah,
these guys, I will give them a lot of credit. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and they went out and they executed it. But when it comes to the tackle position, and especially Low, and you mentioned Caden Wallace, we even saw Austin Hooper play a little
yeah,
bit toward the scene and try to throw some blocks, which I was a little bit surprised on. He did a pretty good job of helping to move the
sure
line.
did.
When you look at the tackle position now and you look at the flux there, is this something that still causes you concern?
Yeah, it does. It really does because once the cat's out of the bag, once defensive coordinators are going to be able to plan for these types of things, they're going to be able to dissect and see where they're going to where the Patriots are going to go and how they can counter that. And the left side is just still a mess right now. We're what Andrews is able to do in there as a leader to anchor this unit has been fantastic. At
Mm,
least it was through 4 quarters. We did see that Cincinnati catching up to what the Patriots were doing in the first quarter, but we were also able to see the Patriots counter that with some good counter blocking, some
mm,
good two-team blocking, and able to take advantage of Cincinnati where they weren't expecting it, and I like that a lot. Um, but just to bring it full circle, you can't live in 12 and be as diverse as you
mm.
need to be. You can't live in jumbo packages with extra offensive linemen, no matter how many times you want to declare that yourself eligible, that this is going to work out in a way that we're going to see anything really explosive. What I saw on Sunday basically was a Bill Belichick style offense, was the style of
Mm,
offense that has been played here for quite some time. It was not very diverse. It was not very exciting. The defense allowed them to get the job done, but the reason that it worked was there was no laundry.
Mm,
The laundry was limited, which was
yeah.
another key, which is an every week key. And when you don't make those false starts, when you don't have those holding penalties, when you don't have when you have people lined up correctly, things tend to work more often.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well said. And it's very rare that a team will play a clean game the way the New
Right.
England Patriots played on Sunday and really kind of helped everything to click on all cylinders. Because if I'm the Seattle Seahawks and I'm jumping ahead here to week 2, I'm going to be looking at this tape and I'm going to be looking at what the left tackles yielded and the
Right.
Patriots' difficulty in being able to protect. Look, Trey Hendrickson is one of the best pass rushers in the
Oh
league. He
God.
had all 6 pressures that were allowed on Jacoby Brissett came from Trey Hendrickson, and they came from the left side. When you look at Okorafor and then obviously Vidarian Lowe, they were the
Right.
ones that allowed those 6 total pressures, and they also
Right.
allowed 2 hits on the quarterback as well. In all, 46.2% of the total pressure on the quarterback came from the left
Right.
tackle spot. The left tackles have to be better. And again, if they're not going to be playing clean and you're going to get erroneous penalties, which every team falls victim to, that only magnifies that problem. And it definitely makes it something that the New England Patriots are going to have to fix. And they're going to have to shore it up this week. And I
Yep.
think that's going to be the main focus for the New England Patriots this week at practice, is trying to help solidify that left side of the offensive line, particularly the tackles, to keep Jacoby Brissett a little more upright when it comes to what they're going to be facing, not just from the
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks, but then on short rest and Thursday night football in week 3 against the New York Jets. And you know that Jets' fearsome defensive front is going to be aching to get after the Patriots quarterback, whoever it may be. Most likely it will be Jacoby Brissett. But that's something to keep an eye on as well. So a lot of things to be proud of, a lot of things to be happy about in New England. Patriots had a good win and no one's taken away from it. But there are reasons to also keep your feet on the ground and realize that this team is still forging its own identity. What did the Patriots do on the field, however, on Sunday to make people believe that this may be a better team than we originally had given it credit for? Murph and I are going to get into the biggest takeaways from the Paycor Stadium field in the Queen City in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And with the NFL season, I know you all out there in Patriots Nation are going to be looking at FanDuel for all of their offerings regarding the Patriots home opener against the Seahawks and so much more. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit fanduel.com/locked on to download America's #1 sportsbook. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. Pats sit at 1-0 after a 16-10 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium. Joining me to break it all down and to lend his wisdom, counsel, and of course, each and every week, his monster keys to victory, for which we are honored and grateful. Don Murph is our good friend, the legend himself, the Count of Murphy Fisto, Thomas Murphy. And Murph, we've talked about the monster keys to victory on offense, on defense. We even dabbled a little into special teams. Spent an entire segment talking about the O-line and what to expect and what the Patriots still need to do to move that line forward. But as we start to look ahead to week 2 and the Seattle Seahawks and the home opener this Sunday at Gillette Stadium, before we get into the ins and outs of what Seattle is bringing to the table, when you look at the Patriots' performance, when you look at their expectations up and down, what do you believe is the biggest takeaway or the biggest takeaways from this team heading into week 2 from their victory in week 1?
This is a smart, disciplined football team.
Hmm.
Something that we haven't seen for the past couple of years, especially when it comes to the little things, the intangibles, and playing within themselves. That's the biggest takeaway that I took from 4 quarters of football. Um, this might be the best 4 quarters of defensive football that I've seen in a very long time. The other thing that I took away from this is that this team needs to be just a tad bit more explosive. My man Tyquan Thornton had a fantastic game. The commentators even mentioned it. Um, it's not necessarily, I said it in my keys, that it's not necessarily something that's going to show up in the stat line, but what he's able to do with his speed and dragging coverages all over this field is going to open up so much more for this team going forward, and I think that's going to have to happen for them to continue to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a foregone conclusion that this team is going to need to be disciplined. It's going to be a requirement for them not to beat themselves because plenty of other teams that are either going to be coming here to Gillette or where the Patriots are going to be traveling to play in their home stadium are going to have more talent, possibly on
Hmm.
both sides of the ball. So the Patriots owe it to themselves to play clean games, play smart, and play as much mistake-free football as possible. Do not give the other team any opportunity to capitalize or limit those opportunities to razor thin margins. That's going to give you that puncher's chance. So I think that's an excellent point, Murph. And I absolutely love how you said that. One of the biggest takeaways for me has been Rhamondre Stevenson, obviously. I mean, we're looking at a guy now, Murph, that is emerging into, I believe, a top 10 back
Oh,
in the
sure.
NFL. And the fact that he's not ranked there yet still to me is egregious, but I think
Right.
Rhamondre is actually liking it a little bit. I
Yeah,
think
we
he's
can pump
taking
it
it.
up now because he's under contract. Okay.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely.
One of my old Billisms is the fact that when once they sign the new contract, it's when they start getting the ball more and being used more. It's in contract years that you see that stuff dwindle down. So yeah,
Absolutely.
now he's under contract, so we can ride him.
Definitely, without question. So, yeah, absolutely. Give Ramondre some credit. Give the drummer some, as the late, great James Brown would say. But bottom line, I think you're looking at a guy that is emerging into top back territory. And I don't just mean on the field, because this kid we know has the ability, he has the skill set to be a solid runner, a
Yep.
solid top runner, not only in this offense, but I think in any offense. I think he's on the verge of becoming a star in this league, and rightfully so. But what impressed me most about what I heard from Ramondre this week was the respect that he's commanding in the locker room, not just from his teammates, but from his coaches.
Yep.
And I thought it was interesting that Ramondre was the one that really went to Alex Van Pelt and lobbied hard for the Patriots to run more downhill
Right.
schemes. And I thought that that was very gutsy, for lack of a better term, considering what Van Pelt is wanting to do. Downhill is something that is very much Belichickian from what this team has done for a number of years. And he knew it was a comfort. He knew it was the best way to attack the Cincinnati
Right.
defense. And Van Pelt listened to him. He didn't act like I know more than you. I have to establish myself as the alpha in
Right.
the room. You do what you're told, and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there. He didn't pull that rank. He listened to Ramondre. That speaks volumes about the level of respect this kid commands in the locker room. You're looking at a kid right now that's growing into his own in terms of confidence, but you're also looking at someone that is demanding the respect and the confidence
Right.
of his teammates and his coaches. That tells me right there, Rhamondre Stevenson is a force on this team. Maybe their most important offensive player right now,
Oh,
Murph.
without a doubt.
Mm,
If for some reason, knock wood, that Rhamondre Stevenson goes down, this team is in a heck of a lot of trouble. We talked about
mm,
the lack of depth in that running back room, and Mike quelled some of that a couple of times, and because he was happy with it, but no, Rhamondre is the man.
mm,
Right now he's the most talented player on that side of the ball, and the Patriots are going to need to ride him for as long as they can until they can figure out how to get some of these new pieces involved even more. I expected to see a lot more of Jalen Polk in the first week, but they're taking a patient approach with him as well.
mhm,
We talked about a patient approach with Drake May. They're taking a patient approach with him. I thought, Hunter Henry had a fantastic game Sunday, and not a lot of people are talking about it because it's a game that didn't show up in the stat sheets. But what he was able to do out there, I expect to see him more involved. Even though Claire was probably a little bit happy with all the tight endage that was going on. Check Claire out on Zitter at Classy Claire, and have some good times. But no, this is a team that right now I'm stuck in between just feeling good about this game one victory, about this week one victory, because we haven't had one here in a while,
Mm,
and tempering that into expectations that are more in line with the way I felt a couple of weeks ago, or even a week ago, or even on Thursday as I was cutting the final keys to my ring last week. I still believe that this is at best a 6-win team. They are going to face tougher competition going ahead.
mhm,
The more you put on film, the more that other teams have to study and are going to be able to counter that. Will Mayo, Van Pelt, Covington, and company be able to keep up what they did so well on Sunday over the next 16 weeks?
mm. Very good point. Very, very good point. And again, I think it speaks to the level of competition now that the Patriots are going to be facing. I think maybe they've woken the sleeping giant, proverbial sleeping giant, when it comes to the NFL. Teams are not going to look past the Patriots any longer because I think they saw what we saw yesterday, Murph. This is a disciplined team. It's a smart football team. It's a
Right.
team capable of making plays, and it's not a team that's going to make things easy on their opponents. So, based on that, if you are the Seattle Seahawks or the New York Jets or whoever the Patriots have on their schedule in the subsequent weeks, they're going to be looking at this team now as saying, okay, well, we need to play our top game in order to be able to beat them. Maybe they have more talent. Maybe if both sides are clicking on all cylinders, the Patriots come out on the short end more
Right.
often than not. But at the same time, I think what we're seeing from these guys is a desire to fight. And not only that, but I think a rejuvenated effort to be the
Yeah.
best they possibly can
They've
be.
bought in.
And at the end of the day, a team that is cohesive, like the team we saw yesterday, always has that shot.
Yep.
And at that point, anything is possible. So let us know your thoughts on the Patriots' victory. What impressed you the most? What still concerns you about this team? What are your thoughts about the remainder of the season? Drop a comment in the notes section below on YouTube, or reach out to myself at MDABATENFL, or my good friend Murph at TMurph207 on Twitter, Zitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days. And we'd be happy to include your comments on the next mailbag segment, because who knows, folks, Murph may be back before the end of the week to do a Monster Keys mailbag mashup show. Yeah, that's right. Monster Keys mailbag mashup. Murph, Mike, we love the
We
alliteration
love
is
it.
off the charts. And as someone that was once dubbed the Admiral of Alliteration by our good friend Claire
Yep.
Cooper, it's bringing a smile to my face, no question about
And
it. But folks, bottom line, we are honored, humbled, and grateful for the service provided to us today by our good friend Thomas Murphy, always bringing the Monster Keys each and every week. We're the only ones that got them here on Locked On Patriots, and we, for one, could not be happier or more honored to welcome you each and every week here to turn those Monster Keys, my good friend Murph. Before I
I'll be
let you
here.
go, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got marinating in Murph's kitchen for the rest of the week.
Yeah, you can check me out on Zitter at TMurph207. I got a couple of Red Sox pieces going up this week. And of course, the Monster Keys will be out on Friday morning. You can check them out at diehardbostonsportsfans.com, along with all my other stuff that I'm doing right now. Yeah, stop by Twitter, say hello.
In the meantime, I thank my good friend Thomas Murphy for his wisdom, his counsel, his Monster Keys, and for the anisette that he left on my doorstep today. But most of all, we thank each and every one of you, all of our everydayers, our casual listeners, and if you're a first timer, a special tip of the cap. Thank you for making us a part of your New England Patriots coverage. On behalf of Murph, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you all to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.